You and I, actually, I didn't realize this until a moment ago. We had the same finals prediction, which was Bucks in 7 with the small caveat of if Giannis doesn't play, all bets are off. They're not picking the Bucks if Giannis doesn't play. I want to go back to all the way back to a week ago. I thought the best case scenario was Giannis was back for Game 3. Can you contextualize the fact that not only did he come back for Game 1, but seemingly by Game 2, he's playing some of the best basketball of his career?
Yeah, I just can't get over the fact that seeing the video of him hyperextending his knee the way that he did, that he came back, played Game 1, played Game 2 with seemingly no effect. Now, the way that he is playing, I saw glimpses of that during the regular season. It's why I put him at the top of my MVP ballot for the first time this year, because I saw him doing things that I thought were important for an MVP to do. The numbers were always there. The record of the Bucks was always there. But there are certain things that a guy has to do, when he has to do them and how he does them, that I thought had been missing up until I saw them this season. Now, what I am seeing in this series is all of that coming together. We're not just seeing glimpses. We're seeing him demand the ball. We're seeing him demand accountability of his teammates. And perhaps the most important thing that I'm seeing is that he is catching and operating below the free throw line. It reminds me of your favorite player, LeBron James, when he went to the Miami Heat. And the first thing they did, and particularly after they lost the first year, was, LeBron, we need you to play free throw line down. We need you to operate from the mid post. We need you to play pick and roll with Dwayne Wade, where you're the roller in some instances. And it opened everything up for LeBron because, let's face it, whether it's LeBron or Giannis, once they get 2 feet in the paint, I don't know that there's a defender that you can match up with them where you can stop them from getting a quality shot. So that's right. I'm seeing the same development. His fearlessness in wanting to get to the free throw line rather than avoiding contact, his ability to get the ball and protect it and get into the paint, we're seeing it here. Once he gets there and now he draws a crowd, now it's going to open it up for everybody else. I'm seeing him do that consistently now on the biggest stage. And so this is what I saw a little bit of during the regular season, and now we're seeing it full force. That he's doing it after he got injured, I can't explain that. But the reality is that I always knew that the seed was there.
So, Rick, sometimes we watch playoff series, and maybe we're wrong, but we think, oh, this adjustment is right there. Do this. Why won't you do this? Take Kendrick Perkins off the floor, Scott Brooks, to go back a decade ago. We're begging. I'm watching the series, and I also watched Suns-Bucks in the regular season, and I'm just like, it's not to say the Suns can't win the series. I picked the Bucks. I think they'll win, but the Suns obviously can't. But I don't see an adjustment to stop Giannis. I feel like you just hope that his 40 is not enough. Do you see something sitting there for the Suns to do to slow him down?
I don't, simply because if you put Jay Crowder on him, he's demonstrated that he's physical enough, he can get into the paint and hit that jump hook over him. If it's DeAndre Ayton, he's going to face up and he's going to attack him. Now, you can try to make him play in a crowd. I suppose you can try to double team him, but that's the beauty of catching the ball in the mid-post, is it's really difficult to double team there and not leave wide open three-point shooters. The best move that they could try to make is to say we're going to make somebody else beat us. We're going to stop Giannis. We're going to double team him. We're going to send double teams at different times. We're going to confuse the floor. And we're going to force him to give the ball up and make somebody else beat us. The tricky part with that is the Bucks got a nice little test on the ability to play without Giannis, with Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton having to carry the water against Atlanta. So if it comes to that It's not as if that's going to be brand new for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Do you think, let's say prior to these last 72 hours, the way Giannis has been discussed has been in line with the other great players? And by that I mean, when people are talking about, you mentioned my guy LeBron, I'll mention a guy from your neck of the woods, Steph. Nobody does Steph Curry commentary like this. Listen, Steph is the greatest shooter ever. Now, obviously, he stinks in the low post, and he can't play above the rim. But he is the great... It feels to me like with Giannis, even when folks have been complimenting him, they throw in the thing he can't do, which we didn't do that with Shaq. It wasn't like Shaq's so dominating. Now, can't shoot a jump shot, save his life. Or it seems like you disagree, which is totally fair. Do you think Giannis gets discussed the way... Because every guy, except for LeBron, let's be honest, has a hole in their game. But we don't focus on those when we're complimenting them the way we have with Giannis.
Look, Nick, you know this better than anyone. Even LeBron takes his criticism. It's just a different type of criticism. And Steph gets his criticism.
Yeah,
it's just a different type of criticism. With Shaq, it was Shaq. He's not always in shape. He doesn't always play hard. Like, it was the conditioning.
Okay, that's
fair. And LeBron, he's not clutch, whatever. Steph, he can't defend. He got 2 championships because Kevin Durant was the best player. The top guy, people are always going to try to pick holes in who they are. What the distinction is with Giannis, and I believe that it is a valid one, is that unlike, and if you look at, let's face it, the guys that he was competing for MVP with, a James Harden. A James Harden is a closer and a scorer, a guy you put the ball into his hands and say, go get me something. Until recently, we didn't see that with Giannis, and Giannis seemed to be okay with it. Like, oh, you want Chris Middleton to close games? Okay. And that doesn't sit well with people when they're voting for him as most valuable player. That, to me, is the great distinction. And I think it was game 2 where I thought it was the revelation, even though they lost. He took 7 mid-range jumpers and made 5 of them. He was inside, he was getting clawed, and he was still trying to get the ball up to get a shot, knowing it would get him to the free throw line. Those sound like really simple things, but they were things that he would not do consistently. He did not trust his mid-range jumper, even when it was there to be taken, would not consistently take it, would look to kick it out, and he wouldn't try to get to the free throw line no matter how he was shooting. Those are 2 important elements. As we know, James Harden loves to get to the free throw line, is never going to pass up a shot that he thinks that he can take. And so that is the great distinction, and that was the great criticism. And up until now, being a 2-time MVP, that was a valid criticism. Dude, if you're the best player, then you need to take the shot with the game on the line. And much like my criticism with LeBron at times, you're the most physically imposing guy. You're the most difficult matchup. I don't want you throwing it to Kyle Korver if you have a look. If you're totally bottled, I get it. If you have a look, I want you taking that shot. Giannis has taken a page from the same book, and that's why I think the criticism was valid and why he deserves the plaudits now, because he's a different Giannis that we're seeing than we've ever seen before.
One more Giannis question, then I got a Devin Booker one, and I'll let you go. Let's say the Bucks finish it off, that they end up winning the title. They win 3 of the next 4. Do you think Giannis will justifiably go into next season considered the best player in basketball?
If he continues to play the way he has the last 2 games, I don't see how you can't. Now, it's going to be a little bit different because the 3-point shot has just become such a hallmark of anybody that we consider the best player. If it's not Steph, it's KD. If it's not KD, LeBron has that in his bag. And that's not part of what Giannis is. He's a different animal when it comes to that. But, look, if he continues to play the way he's playing right now, it will mean that he won this series definitively. And I don't know that we've ever been able to say that about Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. And if it's Giannis is the reason that the Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA Finals, I don't see how you put him anywhere other than at the top of the mountain.
Yeah, if at age 24 he wins a league MVP, and age 25 he wins a league MVP and a Defensive Player of the Year, and at age 26 he wins a Finals MVP, that's how you become the best player alive. And the guy who I've obviously argued for 13 years been the best guy, if that same year he goes out in round one and gets dinged and does not have a great playoff series, seems fair. And a lot of people would argue Durant, and as brilliant as Durant was, Giannis beat Durant in his building in a Game 7 when Durant was up 2-0 and up 3-2. And I know I know that dealt with injuries, but it's just a strong case that Giannis would have that I think would be pretty, bulletproof as far as logical. All right, last one. Booker doesn't play in the fourth quarter. Has actually struggled. Since the game he broke his nose, he's shooting 36%. That's 8 games. 28% from three over those 8 games. Your level of concern for Booker for the rest of the series and your thoughts on him being sat for the fourth quarter.
Devin to me is a superstar scorer, not a superstar. And I go all the way back to the clip. We all know about the clip where he's playing in the offseason and they double team him and he's like, hey, we don't double team and pick up. And I don't look at that as some referendum on he doesn't like to be double teamed or he doesn't like to work hard. It's none of that. But if you don't like to be double teamed, it's because I want to show you that I can score. And on the very first play of Game 3, Drew Holiday defended him tough. And Devin Booker was like nodding, oh yeah, okay, let me show you. In the NBA Finals, I don't care, Devin, whether you score or not. It's not how you score. It's how you play. If your shot's not falling, how else can you affect the game? And that's where we talk about holes in games. That's where Devin needs to evolve. In that if the ball's not going in when I shoot it, which every player has nights like that, how else can I affect the game? Right now, Devin Booker, when he does not score, he is not a superstar in the making or does not have a superstar effect on the result. And that's where he needs to evolve. And I'll be interested. I mean, he got a lot of P.J. Tucker. I don't think P.J. Tucker should be able to guard Devin Booker. I think that some of what Devin suffered from in Game 3 had more to do with Devin than anything that the Milwaukee Bucks did. I believe he's still an emotional player, the way he plays. And that's not a good recipe for being consistent or successful in the NBA Finals because the emotions are already high enough.
Yeah. Huge game for him, Game 4. All of these games are the biggest games of almost all these guys' career. None more so than Devin Booker this upcoming Game 4. Ric Bucher. Rick, great stuff as always. Appreciate you, man.
My pleasure.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.